Hi and welcome to the part 2 of 99 Songs album review. So, if you haven't seen part 1, let me just tell you that I'm not touching the Telugu version. I'll be only talking about the Hindi and Tamil version. It's because I don't understand Telugu really or I don't speak it. So, I'll be sticking to these. And one more disclaimer, there's already been a Jwalamukhi review that I did about a year ago. So if you want, you can go and check that out. Though I'll still speak a bit about it in this review for the female version. So let's start where we left off. Let's start with a piece called The Oracle. So this is a piano piece, basically. It's like a theme kind of a thing, I think, in the film. So this is being conceived with a lot of Western classical influences. So this is what technically you would call a sonata. Sonata just means a piece that is played. So here you can't call it a piano sonata basically because it has some other elements like the flute as well, but you can definitely call it a sonata. The place where the flute enters, you can see that the piano is still playing. It starts with the O Aashiqa theme, that motif, and then it slowly builds. But when the flute enters in, the piano is already doing a melody, and the flute starts doing a completely different melody, but it's all in sync. So this is what in Western classical music is called a fugue. This is not completely a fugue, but a fugue has this kind of counterpoint element where it's almost like a race where each player starts playing at a different time, and the other starts at a different point in time, but they all are in sync. So it has those elements as well. There are some string and live percussion elements which add a lot to the piece, but it's the piano and the flute that bring all that energy and soul to the piece. Overall, the piece is very great and very expressive. Next up is a piece again called The Voice Without Words. So this has been done by Purvi Kotish in both the languages. So here it's more like an atmospheric piece. I think the idea or the concept of this piece was to discover and explore sounds in nature, sounds of nature. So they've tried that. You can definitely hear the water droplets and some of that. The vocals that goes, it says like love is the fire that doesn't burn. You can't feel it burning, but it's very intense and all that. But one thing is very counterintuitive is that you name the piece A Voice Without Words and then you have words. So if it was just the atmospheric piece with all the pads and everything, with all the textures, I think most of them are synth textures. He had done such a thing in 127 hours as well. So maybe if that alone was the piece, maybe it would have been better, or maybe it works much better with visuals because there I don't think you will have the title of the song there, so it just works. So maybe that will be there, but as a piece, as an atmospheric piece, it works really well. It's not something that you listen to on a playlist. Maybe those intense crazy fans who listen to background scores and those pieces might listen to it, but it's more of something that works with the visual and not just as audio. Even this piece, as it builds, gets intense. The reason being choir and the strings, they add a lot of life to the song, to the piece, and that is what gives you that feeling of being encompassed by the sound. It's like the sound is everywhere around you. If you have a good set of headphones or speakers, you'll really enjoy this piece. But again, as I said, it's not something you listen to get in the mood or in the groove or something like that. It is just for academic listening, or maybe if you want to get transported using a soundtrack piece, then it's great. Next up, we have a song called Humnavaa or punnagai maayai in Tamil. So this tune is a bit convoluted because it has been written as a counter melody to the piano piece that's playing. That's it. That's goes on throughout the song. In the Hindi version, you don't have many rhythmic elements, but in the Tamil version, they introduced a groove like a drum beat pretty quickly. I don't know what made them take that decision. In the Hindi version, the lyric writing by Navneet is very typically Bollywood. It's full of cliches. ऐसा कुछ बहुत नया नहीं है. But Madan Karki in the Tamil portion has done some good stuff. Like even though it has some cliches, there are certain thoughts, a couple of thoughts which are very fresh and very new. There's a line about converting a painting into sound and delivering it. So I really like that. Arman sings this song effortlessly. He's accompanied by Sasha in the Hindi version. Sasha sings the Tamil version as well. In both the songs, she just has to do the humming. In the Tamil version, Abhay Jodhpurkar has done the vocals. He also pulls it off really nicely. So this kind of experimentation we have seen Rahman do in the recent past, most notably in Dil Bechara, where you have these contrapuntal lines, multiple vocalists singing at the same time, that too in different lyrics. That was very difficult. The thing that he did in Dil Bechara. Here it's a piano and a voice and a humming. So it's, I think, slightly easier to manage harmonically, but he pulls it off like really well. So this is again one of those songs I'll be listening to on a loop. But it's not too technical, too academic that we can't enjoy it. It still is a very breezy, refreshing kind of a song. Towards the end, it intensifies, but it's all done really tastefully. So this one's definitely going on the playlist. This is a great song. Next up, we have a song called "O Aashiqa." So this is being sung by Shashwat Singh again with some portions by Rahman. In Tamil, this one's called "Oor Aayiram vanavil." It has been sung by Vijay Yesudas again with Rahman's humming portions. In Hindi, for me, this is the best written song of the album, hands down, because just the idea and the concept of the song is really beautiful. So the concept of the song, if you listen carefully, is that there is a price for doing everything. Uh, there are materialistic things and there are intangible things in life. But if you do something uh, expecting something else in return, that's not a true attempt. You might as well not do that at all. So, in the entire song, Navneet very poetically and very aptly describes things that you give up to achieve certain things. I really love the lines where she talked about ईमान गिरा के कुछ हासिल किया तो क्या किया, एंड इवन द रोमांटिक लाइन विच इज वेरी सिंपली दिल लेने के लिए ही दिल दिया. So all that is very beautifully done and very beautifully written. So lyrically, hands down, for me, this is the best song of the album. In the Tamil version, the take is slightly different. So here it's like, why? What if you do this and you don't do that for this particular thing? So what did you achieve, right? In the Tamil one, he actually tells you, do this, do that. So that is a different take. I even like that version. It's pretty much like instructions: remove blackness from your heart, let your heart be pure, and focus on these things. I really like that as well. Lyricist Vivek has shown range here in this very album itself by doing different kinds of songs, and it takes a good lyricist to take an existing song and slightly do a different take on that. I know he's not very popular among lots of people because he has done certain songs which people didn't like, but this song I really like the way he has written. Because there's a difference in take, the lyrics wise, there's also some difference singing wise. So Shashwat's singing is very thoughtful, philosophical, a bit thought provoking. But Vijay Yasudas' singing is much more solemn. It's almost like he's telling these things to himself, and he's a bit more quieter. He's not a lot expressive, and I think that's coming from the lyrics, and it fits. It really fits. So there is a distinction in singing styles as well. I think those different kinds of lyrics warrant those kind of singing styles. Arrangement wise, most of the song is just a simple bass and some guitar patterns. It does intensify towards the end. I really like the portion where you have strings and Rahman's kind of ala backing vocals that he does, which is very intense. It is like a foreshadowing or a prelude to the next section, the bridge section, which is a very intense section, the section that starts with O Ma. So the transition from this simple to really intense is done through this small backing vocal part. And if you notice, generally backing vocals are backing a lead vocal. Here, there's no lead vocal, yet Rahman's vocal sounds like it's coming from somewhere like far away. It's acts as backing vocals without any lead vocals. So that's a very clever thing to do, and it acts as a good buffer to transition into the intense portion. This song, according to me, for both the albums, the Tamil and the Hindi version, is the most realized kind of a song. If I had to pick, I can't pick one favorite, but if I had to, with a gun on my head, I'll pick this song. Next up, we have a song called O Mera Chand. In Hindi, it's been sung by Bela Shende. In Tamil, it's called Aagaya Neelangalil and has been sung by Shreya Ghoshal. The Hindi lyrics have been done by Navneet Park and the Tamil lyrics have been done by Tamare. So it is very obvious that this is a song, this is a lullaby, but here it's being sung to an unborn child. So the mother is singing to her child and putting her wishes on the child, like tu aisa banega, vaisa banega, be like these world leaders, be like these religious leaders. Some of these religious leaders are mentioned, all from all religions. And the mother is wishing a lot for her child, typical Indian mother, right? Before even being born, they're putting expectations. Like jokes aside, this is a very beautiful song, a very tender kind of song. The instrumentation is very sparse here, and that is exactly what was needed for this song. Um, there's one thing very peculiar about this song and in general about Rahman. There are certain songs that he does that sound like songs we have heard before, right? There are 4 to 5 songs that came into mind when I listened to this song. Some have a common meter, some may share some notes, but you can't exactly say that this is that tune. So it's like he gets inspired and takes the essence out of a lot of songs and then creates something on his own. So it's like you use, uh, 10 reference books, but then you write your project report, which is very original because you're not quoted directly any of those. I think this song also feels a bit like that for me. If you guys think this song resembles some other songs, let me know in the comment section down below. I really like the guitars in the song. Apart from that, there's not a lot to talk about the arrangement and production here. Let's talk about the vocals. Bela Shende in the Hindi version does a great job. It's very soothing, but it's to the point. It's straight. It's very simple. She hasn't tried to showcase a lot of her singing here. It was not needed. It's a lullaby, and she does that to the T. It's an amazing performance. But then you listen to the Tamil version, and it just transports to you to some other world because it's Shreya, and there's something magical in her voice, and just the way that she enunciates every single word. It's like again and again you fall in love with that voice. So like you can't help but just close your eyes and like, okay, you do your job now. So it's like that. Again, you can't make out that this is not a person who doesn't speak Tamil. So it's absolutely beautiful. Next up, we have a song called Veere Kadhe in the Hindi version, written by Navneet Burke and Shiv, and Vengaiye in the Tamil version, which has been written by Pa Vijay and Shiv. Shiv, I think, is the rapper who is common to both the songs. So this is an ensemble kind of a song, but the singers that are main to the song and feature in both the versions are Sarthak Kalyani and Swagat Rathod. So this is a very interesting song. When I heard the Hindi version, I felt like he has tried to reinvent a bhangra or a traditional Punjabi song because there are a lot of Punjabi elements, right? Right from the lyrics, you have the dhols, then you have a lot of things. But then I heard the Tamil version. They have switched all that to Tamil lyrical imagery and even the drums. So instead of the dhols, I think you hear tawils or the Tamil drums there. So it is almost reminiscent of the drums in Peter rap. So if you listen closely to the Tamil version, you feel like it's very similar to the rhythm in Peter rap, or maybe it's just me. So this is a very modern, hip kind of a production, hip kind of a song. But this song, according to me, is the most complicated song arrangement wise because it keeps switching, arrangement and beats every 10 seconds, I think. So it goes from the traditional to slightly modern electronica kind of a sound, and then it straight away goes into those, very hip hop kind of sound with 808s and trap hi hats. I never thought I'd be appreciating 808s and trap hi hats in an AR Rahman song, but as we all know, he keeps up with the times, and this the hero or the mainstay of this song for both the versions is definitely the arrangement and the production. So Rahman sir, there are other elements they work as well, but arrangement and production is the USP of this song. Next up, we have a song called Gori, godh, Bhari. The Tamil version is called Seemantha. So this song is very semi-classical in nature, right? So this is definitely completely entrenched in Indian roots and Indian culture. And you can see how much we have in common despite all the states. So the idea or the concept of the song is to explain every ritual in that baby shower thing, Seemantha as you call in Tamil, or godh Bhari as we call it in the north. So uh, there is not even a single Western music influence in the song. It's completely Indian. The vocalists are all stalwarts in both the versions. I'll come to that. They have done an absolutely great job. But the mainstay again are the instrument players here. So the tabla player, sitar player, who I think is Asad Khan, he plays a lot with Rahman, uh, and whoever played the Shehnai, they absolutely take the cake. Even the flute player. So it's definitely their forte. It's the interludes are basically jugalbandis between them and their interplay. Vocals are really great. Lyrically, it's very traditional. You can't say anything different here. You have to stick to culturally known stuff. You can't invent here. So they're just describing all the rituals, but very correctly and aptly. Navneet again has written the Hindi version, while the Tamil version has been written by Kuti Revati. She's also a pretty popular, known kind of lyricist. The Tamil version has been sung by Sirisha Bhagavatula, Jonita Gandhi, and Sharanya Srinivas. The Hindi version has been sung by Alka Yagnik, Anuradha Sriram, and Shweta Mohan. So the difference here in both the versions is that all of them are great singers and they do a great job. But Anuradha Sriram and Alka Yagnik are legends, right? So they bring a maturity to the song, especially casting Alka Yagnik in the song already tells me that maybe there are two, three girls singing, and then there's an elderly woman, the older matriarch of the family, like a nani or somebody, or like Saas or somebody from the family is singing. So it just gives you that thing. And all the singers in both the versions have done an absolutely brilliant job. But again, I'll maintain that this is a song for all the people who played the tabla, the flute, the shanai, and the person who has done the bowls, and of course the singers have done the sargams towards the end as well. So this is a song for all Indian classical music lovers. You'll have a blast listening to this song. Now let's talk about Jwalamukhi, the female version. So the lead singer here in both the versions is Purvi Kautish. For the Tamil version, Sarthak Kalyani has sung with her for some background portions. For the Hindi versions, it's Shashwat Singh again. So this version is slightly different because it's a bit more modern. It's almost like a modern pop song, basically. That one was more rooted, the Arijit Singh and the Sid Sriram one. This one is a bit more brazen and in your face. So there are portions in the song where she goes super westernized and very breathy and in a very husky kind of a tone. And then there are portions where she has to just blast out and belt those notes out. She does both of them pretty effectively. The arrangement wise, this song is pretty different to the other version of Jwalamukhi. There's a key change. Halfway through the song, the key of the song shifts, scale shifts, and it goes into a higher key, and the arrangement also changes over there. Uh, the Hindi version, lyrically, it's decent. It's pretty much similar to the other song. It's not very great or anything. Even the Tamil version is pretty similar. It's full of cliches, and it is in tandem with the other song. So it fits in a sense for both versions. But pronunciation wise, I felt that Purvi at certain places in the Tamil version did not do justice to the words. There are certain portions in the Tamil version where it's very clear, but especially when she's singing in those higher registers. In the Tamil portion, some of the words don't sound like Tamil because you're trying to make them sound so westernized and anglicized. So, for example, there are many places where the word ninja sounds like nanj, and I think meaning changes completely. So, those could have been taken care of. Otherwise, it's a pretty decent song. It's a great song. It's a very energy pumping kind of a song. Some people might like it better than the original as well, but I like the male version better. So that's it for the review. But before we finish the video, I'd like to say one thing about the entire album, which is that uh, the major difference in the Hindi and Tamil album for me was that the Tamil album was made slightly more palatable, where the Hindi album is slightly more experimental at places. And apart from that, the lyric writers you have a lot of lyric writers in the Tamil version, but Navneet Work has mostly written the entire Hindi album, and she does a great job. If you guys have heard of her before this, please let me know, and I would really like to follow more of her work. She shows like amazing range, and she's written great stuff. Aashiqa again being my favorite. And by any chance, if she gets to see this, if you're seeing this, thanks a lot for such a great album. And we would really like to listen to more of your songs, and would really like to track your progress as you make inroads into the industry. So that's it for the review. If you like this video, please leave a like. Check out other stuff on my channel. I do a lot of these music reviews, music recommendation, other music related content. So if you like any of that, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. If you want to tell me anything, good, bad, ugly, put that in the comment section down below. And if you want to contact me personally, you can just DM me on Instagram and we can have a chat there as well. So that's it for the video. I'll see you all with another video.